I actually going? Am I rolling? I don't see myself on the TV. Welcome, Jordan. There you are.
Wow, my hair.
your, your hair. What's up, everyone? Shane here with ROA. Today I'm coming live from inside Reboot, and this is the 19.4. Oh, you can see the TV, huh? It's like it's in the thing. I'm reading off we have the TV playing, so I'm actually watching myself on the TV right now, which is kind of strange. But we did that because we wanted to have comments. But now it says it's resuming to store mode demo, so I think I'm gonna lose it. No. Okay, there we go. There we have it. Okay, welcome to the. Sorry for the movement. That's the camera guy. He's trying to get it positioned nicely. So now I'm going crooked. You're all over the place.
We need it louder.
Huh?
Stephanie Souza says we need it louder.
Oh, it's not very loud. Can you not hear me? Sorry, we're having technical difficulties from the trails, from the middle of nowhere. I am out by the lake behind me. If you can see, this is Utah Lake. So I'm not seeing comments on the TV. So I'm gonna pull up my YouTube, and I'm gonna just watch it from here because I'm clearly not seeing the comments. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone. So if you have any questions on the new reboots, as you can see, I am sitting inside a Reboot right now as we speak. I am out by the lake. And here we go. So, yo, we need it louder. That's better. Okay, there you go. There you have it. Thank you, Souza. Do you have any questions about the all-new reboots? This is the 19.4. We have now been camping in it for multiple times. We've been down to Moab, Maynard, Moride. Holy moly, this guy is all over the place.
Okay, sorry guys. I'm holding it.
He's holding it. Just going. We got camera.
Okay, just so everybody knows, this is what we're trying to work with.
There's like a funky mount. They're trying to like mount this thing on. Oh my goodness. There's only 13 people here. Nobody's asking any questions, so everybody's totally okay with all of this. Okay. This is behind, you're getting truly behind the scenes. You think we're like always making everything perfect. Look at that. That's pretty good.
Tell everyone what we're in the middle of doing.
So yeah, we're right now in the middle of filming a Reboot tour. So we kind of went out in the middle of nowhere, and we've been completely off grid. I'm running the air conditioning system, not plugged in, no generator. We're running it off the batteries and the solar, which is, I think, amazing. And last time I checked the battery, it was at 95%. And we've been running that air conditioner well over an hour, maybe an hour to 2 hours. We had lunch earlier with the air conditioner, and now we've been sitting in here with the air conditioner. So looks like you're in the middle of nowhere, is what Bobby Jones says. Yes. This is how day drinking starts. Is that all the shakiness? Sorry, we apologize. It was pretty bad there for a second, but looks like it's looking pretty good now. As you can see, I don't know if it looks like you can get a pretty good view of the Reboot. I mean, we got everything in here. This trailer is so pretty. I absolutely love it. So we're out by the lake and the mountains on the other side. We're in BLM land, and we're working on doing a full tour on it. Going to be teaching, like I mentioned, we took it down to Moab, Maynard from Pause. He's the visionary behind Pause. He came out. Daryl, who is he's the founder of KFC. He came out as well. Not really, but just joking. But he's actually works for Moride, and Moride is the one that builds the suspension. They build the frame, so it's all aluminum huck riveted frame. Stay tuned for the tour. We're going to be going through tons of stuff, but today I wanted to see if anybody has any questions about the Reboot, since we're out here sitting in it. you know, just hanging out. Now, some of the stuff that I do want to talk about the Reboot is today we did a top 5, and we talked about some of the options. That's one of my favorite things about the Reboot is they're giving you a lot of options, because a lot of the trailers that we have, they're kind of like you just buy it the way it comes, and it is what it is, right? That's kind of why over the years ROA, we started doing a lot of mods, because a lot of people were like, man, well, can't you have that? Can't you have that? Most manufacturers are like, no. This is how the trailer comes. Take it. You don't like it, don't buy it type of mentality. Not everybody's like that. Not all of our manufacturers are. Excuse me. But in general, that's a lot of how manufacturers are in the RV industry. Reboot has been very cool to try to set things up where you can option out the trailer. So are the Anderson plugs for DC to DC charging? Yes. Generally, yes, depending on which trailer you're looking at. So if you're looking at the MDCs, they have an Anderson plug on the front of it. That is designed for DC to DC charging. You'll have to get set up on your truck to have an Anderson plug. And that Anderson plug is going to have inside it. It actually works through the BM Pro, which is very cool. So I know I'm in a Reboot, but talking about MDCs for a second, the management, the battery management system, it's similar to Red Arc. So if you've heard of Red Arc, Patriot uses Red Arc. We've done a lot of Red Arc stuff over the years. BM Pro is kind of like a competitor to Red Arc. I don't know which one's better, but they both kind of compete in Australia. So MDC uses the BM Pro, and that BM Pro, they do it manages the solar to the batteries, manages shore power to the batteries, and manages that Anderson plug up front to the batteries. So if you have that Anderson plug, you would connect it to the inverter, and you put an Anderson connection on the back of your bumper, and you'd plug it in, and then that should send a lot higher amperage, generally 20 to 30 amps. I think they're rated for 30 amps, but nobody ever gets 30 amps out of them. Oh shoot, you're asking me questions on pricing. Effortless choice, outdoor kitchen option. Outdoor kitchen option. That's a great. I don't know all the pricing. You didn't say price. You just said outdoor option, question mark. It is on the website. So go to the website. If you go into our website, you click down on the inventory or the rigs page, and you'll see a Reboot. The top of it shows the main price, and then you scroll down to the bottom area in specs. You'll see each option built out. So there's going to be 2 options on the Reboot. Number 1 option is they have so if you just go stock and you don't order an outside kitchen, you won't have one, obviously. Or there's one that kind of folds down off the side. It's actually right here on the other side of the booth. So you can like hand stuff out the window to people. And that has a little stovetop, has a little sink spot. It's a drop-in sink. And then you have hot and cold water out there. And then a propane connection. That is the upgrade. I think it's like, I can't remember how much, $1,500 or something. You can double check that pricing. We also are going to be installing an ROA exclusive kitchen. If you've watched some of our previous videos on the X195 Roamer 1 kitchen that we created, we CAD designed, built this in-house, and it is, in my opinion, one of the best, most beautiful kitchens on the market, and that's just because we spent so much time over the years of carrying so many different off-road trailers and dealing with different kitchens. This was like really well thought out, deep sink, griddle, grill, drains go in the right directions you want them to. So we're going to be optioning that kitchen, the ROA Roamer kitchen, into the Reboot as an option. The pass-through storage on this unit is massive. Like, it's the biggest out of all of the trailers we have. This has the biggest storage on the outside. Might have the most storage on the inside too. What do you think? Do you think this thing has more storage than any trailer we have?
Yeah. So
Yeah?
if not, it's like really close.
If not, it's very close. I'm asking the camera guys behind. So it's probably like right there. It's either the most or it's really close to being the most. Lots of storage in the Reboot. So we're really happy about that. Anyway, so your thoughts on wall construction, pause versus Reboot. Oh, we have a panel. I wish we had it with me right now. It's out in the other trailer because we have 2 Reboots out here. We have a base Reboot and a fully loaded Reboot, and the panel's in the other one. I would like to show it to you. It's very cool. It's unlike anything I've seen. Actually, the Pause X22s, we did a factory tour. He did something similar to this, and it was really cool. It's because it's good for the, are you gonna go grab it?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think you totally should. This is Jordan, he's behind the camera. He should be in front of the camera. Look, he works out much more than I do. Looks better on camera than me, but whatever. He doesn't like being on the camera. I'm always like, Jordan, why don't you get on the camera more often? Anyway, he's gonna go out and grab that wall panel for us, and then I'll show you and tell you a little bit more of my thoughts. So before I show you the wall, I don't know, like, obviously the composite, one-piece composite panel walls are like really cool, and they're very expensive. I think they're pretty heavy. They're very strong. Okay, this might be hard to see in the video. You can go back over there, Jordan, if you want.
You could just put it in front.
So
Can you zoom in on?
I see Jordan coming in. This is so delayed. I'm like, he's just barely coming in and handing the wall to me. So on the video that I'm watching, so it's like throwing me off a little bit. Okay, so this is the wall. So this is the matte tan wall, because there is a white gloss wall, and so that's an option. The units that we have here, the white gloss one just so happens to be the base model, and the tan one is the fully loaded model. But the way I'm trying to explain it to people is the white one can be fully loaded, the tan one can be fully loaded, or the tan can be base, or vice versa. It's kind of a la carte, right? You choose the base, and then you get to choose your suspension. You have the rubber shear spring suspension, and it does travel. I'm actually pretty impressed with how well it travels down the road. 5 inches of travel up and down. Obviously, the more ride air suspension is the best thing out there right now. But so this is the matte tan. So this is a fiberglass, and then the backing on it is not wood or Luan. It's it's like a composite material. It's gonna be the Asdel. So Asdel is a pretty popular stuff in premium trailers. Nowadays, a lot of trailers are doing it because there's been so many issues with wood rot and delamination over the years. So Asdel is like, you can stick that in water forever and it doesn't warp or bend. So Asdel is really good. So zero wood, and I think that's really important. But now this is what's really, really cool, and what I've never seen on a pause. Oops, I lost it. Sorry, I'm watching the thing on the TV, so I'm making sure you can see it.
Hold it more in front of your face.
Like right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so these long pieces of aluminum are the very edges of the wall. So if you're looking at the wall, the very back side and the very front, you'll have these pieces where they connect the wall to wall, right? But everything along, so like this whole wall that I'm sitting at right now, is gonna have this barrier all the way along, and then they have these smaller aluminum studs. And I think what's really important is because this is the exterior wall. So essentially it's more like this, but I'm showing it to you like this so you can see it. So essentially what this is going to prevent, this is like a barrier, so you're not going to have condensation, or at least it will be harder to condensate, or thermal bridging through there. I know people are saying this is not an actual wall, this is just a sample. So this portion would be a lot longer, and this would be all the way out of the picture, right? This would only be at the end. That's where they connect on the edges. But essentially this is the whole entire exterior wall. So it's going to be harder for temperature to transfer in through here. So this is unique, and I've not heard of anybody in the industry doing anything like this. And then the ceiling is like that. which is very cool because essentially inside the trailer, heat rises and it's going to hit the wall, hit the ceiling, and then it's going to have a harder time going through here because what happens is the metal, the metal is, if it's like that, the heat can travel through here, and when it hits this air gap and this aluminum gap, it just transfers out super fast and out of the trailer, right? So that barrier is very cool. Unique. I've never seen anything like it. Actually, like I mentioned earlier, I have seen Explore, some of the ice fish houses, the old Explorers, they did do that type of things. And those trailers were rated for like 40 below zero. I never camped in them in 40 below zero. I camped in them on like 10 below zero, and that was too cold for me. But that barrier, because a lot of people always talk about R value, insulation, and that's not, I don't think, the best question to ask, because like if you imagine you have a wall that's this thick, and you open the window, where's the cold air gonna escape? It always goes through the point of least resistance, right? You have an open window, that wall, the room is gonna get freezing cold if it's cold outside. If it's hot outside, it's gonna get really hot inside. So like you get an ice chest, a refrigerator, or you get a refrigerator and it's insulated, and it gets cold in there, but also if you get it hot in there, it will stay hot in there. It's like a thermos, I should say, not a refrigerator. More like a thermos, right? It's going to keep the temperature in there, whatever it is. If you take the lid off, open it, and then the heat is all going to dispense out of the top of the lid. So in construction, it's all about the spaces where you're going to get the heat transfer the fastest, which is windows. Generally, windows are the weak point of a house, a trailer. Now these are dual pane windows, so it's going to be less of an issue. But the fact that they're doing the insulation like this is really cool. Now, thoughts on the construction on the pause versus the reboot? You didn't actually say, oh, you said wall construction. So the standard way to build a trailer for the longest time has been you have an aluminum stud, kind of like this, but you don't have this barrier. This aluminum stud would go all the way down to the edge. And then you would have, this would be every time you hit a stud, every, few feet or wherever you would put your studs, you would have essentially a bridge through all over the trailer, and then you would notice condensation. The other thing is, most standard trailers, what they're going to do is they're going to do a fiberglass on the exterior, and then they'll do a wood backing. Unless you get into a premium trailer, then they'll use Asdel. So that's much better, right? They wouldn't usually do this, so you'd have the stud all the way through, and then look how thick this piece of panel is here. So this is a fiberglass with Asdel. This is the inside wall, and this is also fiberglass with Asdel, and it's just as thick as the exterior wall. So it's stronger, it's more rigid. Most trailers are going to use paneling, like half as thick as that, wood paneling. That's what a standard trailer is going to be. So this right here, the wall that I'm leaning against, this is fiberglass. This is a fiberglass with an Asdel backing. And then the exterior is fiberglass with Asdel. So this is a phenomenal wall. As far as like in the industry, this is going to be one of the better walls out there right now on the market. So the pause walls have 0 studs in them, right? It's a one-piece composite material, and it's more expensive. It definitely has a higher R value because of the density of the foam, and it's like, I don't want to say it's indestructible, but it nearly is indestructible. Obviously, if I took a sledgehammer to this and started hitting it, it would bust. Like, there's no doubt in my mind that this would bust with a sledgehammer. Now, I don't recommend taking a sledgehammer to anything that you want to, unless you want to bust it. But you could probably take a sledgehammer to the pause walls, the current 20.3, 16.4s, and you would have a really hard time breaking through that wall. Now, this is one of the things that we wanted to do with this unit, was just have more of that glossy fiberglass look, less decals, less badging. And you can do that with this type of fiberglass. Those composite walls that's currently used on the paws, you really can't do that because it has little divots in it, and so it doesn't look good unless you kind of put the whole wrap on it, or you do the rhino coating on it to cover it. But those are that composite material is made for semi-truck refrigeration trucks, and it's unbelievable. Like that is, I would say, like you gotta probably say it's a more superior wall. But I wouldn't say this is a bad wall. It's just not as superior, right? So it's kind of like this wall is probably a better wall than any other trailer on the market right now in the U.S. So this is a very good wall. Thank you. That's a good question. Hopefully that answered your question. I know I went into a lot of detail on that. This is what I'm more used to, minus the barrier and minus the backing, the Asdel backing. So I'm really happy with this. This is a premium wall in all the sense. So 4 seasons rated. Yes, it is. Yes and no. So there's 2 options. So it depends on how you option out the trailer. So all of them are going to be insulated. They're going to have that foam. They're going to have the vapor barrier. This is going to make it a very well insulated trailer. And whether you buy the base Reboot, it's going to be very well insulated with this barrier and this. Whether you buy the most expensive, fully loaded, it's going to still have the same wall. So the insulation, yes, absolutely, it's insulated. The roof is insulated. It's actually insulated even better than the walls because it's a little bit thicker. There's a little bit of a curve on it, and there's more insulation up there. But as far as 4 seasons goes, it depends on the appliances that you install. So there's a single outlet heater that you get, and it just heats up the entire trailer. Or you go with the Truma heater, and it's all ducted. Now, the base model and a fully loaded model, they'll all have heated tanks. So you'll be able to have heated tanks no matter what. But if you wanted the ducted heating, that's kind of forced air into the underbelly throughout the entire trailer, you would have to upgrade to the winter package. And when you upgrade to the winter package, you get Truma water heater, Truma furnace, and Truma air conditioning unit. So doing the winter package upgrades all of your components, opposed to the stock one. It comes with a Coleman AC and a Suburban water heater and a Suburban furnace. And they're great, they work great, but it's not, it wouldn't be the 4 seasons. So there you have it. Any other questions we got? Keep those questions coming in, please. Love to answer questions. Hopefully, if you have any more questions on the walls, I mean, I'm really impressed. I've been working with Maynard. I've been talking with Maynard on this trailer, this floor plan, for over a year, since we first met them. The pause units that came out, I was like, those are beautiful. I said, you know, this is a floor plan that we've sold a lot of over the years, you know, that queen bed to walk around. I love that he kind of did it a little bit offset over here, because this storage area is amazing. You can walk over to that storage area and you can, there's so much storage in there. You could probably hang 30 or 40 shirts in there. So the next person is Alex. He said, did you say in the last live that there will be a bunk house model? Yes, we currently have the MDC 17 family, which has bunk beds right now. If you're seriously interested in bunk model trailer, there is a bunk model option out there. Reboot is going to come out with a bunk model eventually, and there is also currently a 21.4 that's also a bunk model. So we have 2 trailers that have bunks in them, the MDC Family 17 and the Pause 21.4. What is that? The 15? Oh yeah, the MDC 15 also has bunks. So yeah, my camera guys are helping me back there. So the MDC, it has a front bunk and a rear bunk. Sorry, it has the front up high and low bunk, and then it has the king size bed in the back. So that will sleep a few people. The Reboot is going to also eventually have a bunk. I don't have the exact ETAs on that. We will have these trailers, FYI, just so everybody knows. We'll have them in Flagstaff at the Overland show. We'll have them at Oregon in the show. ROA with Reboot will be at both of those shows. And then also our South Carolina ROA Off-Road will be at the Virginia Overland show with Reboot as well. And they'll be releasing hopefully all the reboots together. So, I mean, we'll have the ones that I'm in right now, and maybe the Bunk model will be out by then. And then, I don't know if I'm supposed to say it, but they're eventually going to have a rooftop tent option as well. You'll lose some of your solar capacity. But if you did the rooftop tent one and then you did a Bunk model one, you'd technically be able to sleep 8 people, which was the next question, Stephanie. So there you have it. 8 people. Is that enough people to sleep your family? Maybe, hopefully. Got a lot of kids. If you got like 5 kids, you could sleep them all in there. This one right here that I'm sitting in at this moment in time, it has a queen size bed up here, and then it has the booth that turns into a bed, and you can put 2 kids here. So this is perfect for me. Family of 4. If you got a lot more kids, stay tuned. Eventually there'll be more options. Okay, does the city water enter from under the trailer to the Nautilus panel so that you can keep the compartment door closed? Yes, absolutely. That seems like an obvious thing to do, but sometimes people forget to do obvious things. Maynard is very, very thoughtful, and you know what was one of the coolest things, and this is getting me off a little bit onto a rant, but these are campfire rants, live rants. So when we were in the trailer, I went out with Maynard and Daryl. Daryl's from Moride, and Maynard from Pause, of course. And I camped in this one, the one that I'm sitting in right now. He camped in the other one. And he was like, Shane, I've been in the trailer 100 times at the factory. Like, I go into it, I think about what could we do, how could we change it? And he says, and you feel like, oh, it's perfect, it's dialed in. And he says, and then you go camping. And there's always something. There's always something. And so he left with like a list of things that he's like, oh, I need to add a light here. I need to add an outlet here. Because he's lying down. He's like, I want to charge my phone, right? So there's all these little details. And I just think it's so important that you're using the camper. And Maynard is like, yeah, this is so good. Like, I slept in it. I used it. He's like, no matter how many times you go into the factory floor, you just miss things until you're actually out using it, right? And yes, that water compartment door thing drives me crazy when there's not an outlet. So it has like a little level thing, open up, there's a little circular door that opens up inside the water Nautilus area, and you feed a hose through there, and it has little brushes that you push it through, and you can like run down the hose or run it up, and then you plug it in. And then if you do the Four Seasons package, the Truma ducting is back in that area too, so it's creating some heat, some radiant heat, and keeping that Nautilus area nice and warm. So just a silly, funny thing, but it seems so obvious that you would do that. Thanks. I've seen other options you mentioned. I was curious about the Reboot line. Yeah. So, oh, that's the bunk bed question. Sorry, I'm just saying. They all look amazing. Yeah, they all are. I'm so happy. Like, I've never been more happy this year than any year in all my life selling trailers. I am just so happy. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, there are so many good options. You know, 5, 6, 7 years ago, when the first off-road overland trailers started coming into the U.S., starting with like the Black Series, the imports, they're made in China, but they're Australian designed, right? And when they started coming in, they were the only option out there, and we were super excited about them. But you know, like, it's good to have competition. It's good to have more options, because that generally raises the standard, right? And I was saying this like years before Kurt or Moride were building independent suspension for travel trailers, because I would take trailers out and be like, oh my gosh, independent suspension tows so much better than a solid axle, right? Or leaf springs. And so I was like, someday I think every trailer should have independent suspension. And then all of a sudden, a couple years later, Kurt started making their independent suspension for Embers, right? and it's really cool. And so like I've been seeing the market as a whole get better in a lot of ways. Some still need a long way to go, but you're seeing it more and more throughout the industry. Things are getting better, and I'm really happy about that. But like, yeah, I sorry I went off on a tangent there for a second, but the thing was just like I'm really happy with the lineup of trailers in the market. You know, the MDCs are a phenomenal brand. I mean, they built over 2,000 trailers last year in Australia and sold, right? Like you don't build that many trailers and have happy customers out advocating your brand if you're not building great trailers. You know, the market figures you out and you hear it everywhere, right? Pause is building amazing trailers. Explorer has, you know, obviously built awesome trailers. All the manufacturers we're working with in one way or another, and they're all good in different ways. They have their benefits, and you know, so I just love that there's a lot of options for people. So I mean, I don't like to say which one's my favorite because I have to love them all. They're like my children. You got to not have any favorites. Just love them all. Any future accommodations for a washer dryer combo in the Pause or the Reboot? Mason, sorry. Now you don't need to show it. The camera guy was gonna I'm gonna show you where we're gonna try to put a washer and dryer. Yes, there's a spot in the Reboot. I've been talking with Maynard about it. Whether he does it or whether we do it at ROA, I think there's a perfect spot in the Reboot. The Reboot has so much space in the bathroom area that I feel like you could do away with some of the storage and put a washer or dryer in there, and stay tuned for that. I'm really excited about this Reboot. I think, like, it depends on how you option it as an individual, but I think this trailer could be, you know, with some add-ons, it could be a trailer that a lot of people love, and I think it's a fantastic floor plan. It's a really good floor plan to start with, and then, you know, change some things here and there to make it exactly what you want. Anyway, we have any manufacturers planning a toy hauler, or do I have to make my own? As of right now, you got to make your own. I'm sorry. You know what? Like, if anybody's gonna do it, I can almost guarantee you Maynard will do it. Pause will do it at some point. But the market as a whole in the RV industry is a little bit slow. So I think constantly developing new products is kind of there's been a little bit of a slowdown. People have been a little gun shy to developing a lot of new stuff just because, you know, you got to kind of stick. Obviously, this unit has been in production or in development for a while. So it's here, but I wouldn't expect to see a toy hauler like this year. That's just, I don't know, things might change, but toy haulers are, and there's so many toy haulers out there in the industry already. I know they're not like crazy top quality. ATC seems like a really good brand. I don't know ATC super well, but from what I can tell, they seem like they're a pretty good brand. I'm not sure if Outdoors RV does toy haulers too. They're a good manufacturer. So there are some options out there. I wouldn't expect it in an off-road trailer. I don't know, and like I kind of go back and forth. We have this debate at ROA quite a bit. Is like, because like if you get the right truck, like a good off-road truck and an off-road trailer, this kind of becomes your toy, right? And you go out and you get out into the woods or out into the boonies where nobody else can, and then you detach and your tow vehicle is like your toy, right? To me, like a toy hauler is something that you go to the trailhead with a big truck and a big trailer, and then you pull out your toys and zip around. I know motorcycles are different, but you know what I'm saying? I'm like razors and stuff like that. I don't know. Anyway, just a different way of thinking about it. I'm always like, no, you don't need a toy hauler because your truck and your trailer is your toy, and they can get you off farther than most trailers. I know some people won't agree with that, but whatever. That's just a thought. You look so small at that table, even able to put a leg up. Oh my goodness, right? I don't know if that's like a nice joke. Mostly people are making fat jokes all the time at me on video, so thank you. I haven't lost any weight. I think you're actually not referring to me being small. I think you're referring to the table being large. This table is large, and that was one of the biggest things that I was like begging Maynard. I was like, Maynard, we need a large booth. You know, some of the other styles of trailers that we've had over the years with this north-south queen size bed has also been like a nice booth to sit at with 4 people. And most of our trailers, like, you can comfortably sit 2 adults and maybe squeeze 2 children on them. 4 adults are not so comfortable. I was like, let's make a booth where we can put 4 adults at. So make it wide enough for 4 adults. And yes, look, I'm lounging here. This is pretty comfortable. I'm 6 feet and I'm lounging my legs off. And it's 6 feet long. So you can put an adult, 1 adult, and sleep here with no problem. I think you could put 2 adults here. If they're skinnier adults, no problem. 2 kids, easy. This is an awesome booth. Anyway, so those windows are truly massive, especially the front ones that may be on the slope. Are the struts strong enough to support those windows? The front window does not open, so you don't need it to like support it up. Yeah, these are polycarbonate windows. They're not glass, so it's a dual pane polycarbonate. But polycarbonate is like 250 times stronger than glass, but it's actually lighter than glass. So they're very strong, and durable. Like, you can throw maybe not a rock. I threw a rock at these ones, and it did end up breaking one of the panes. But I've thrown baseballs at these windows, and they don't break, right? And we've had trees hit them while we've been off-roading. So polycarbonate, it's the same stuff that they use to like airplanes and yachts. They usually are polycarbonate acrylic windows. So it's not real glass, and they use that because they don't shatter. They're a lot stronger. So, but they're light. It's actually substantially lighter than glass. So these struts have no problem holding up the window. They are big windows, but there's no problem. They hold them up just fine. That's a good question. If they were glass, I would be worried about, because glass is pretty heavy. So safe towing vehicle for the Reboot, man, this is awesome. So they tow really good. They're balanced out really well. We towed the Reboot with an F-150, easy peasy. We actually pulled the lighter Reboot, so this wasn't a fully loaded Reboot, with a Toyota Sequoia. So this is like I think it's a 5.8 Sequoia, 5.8 liter Toyota Sequoia, which is tundra, tundra territory, but it's an older one. It's a 2008, so you're talking, 9 to 10,000 pound tow capacity, and it towed it really good. Actually, we towed it on highway at speed. We towed it off-roading, and this Toyota's lifted, has a 2 or 3 inch lift with 35-inch tires, and it towed it really, really nicely. I mean, my recommendation would be an F-150 or a 1500 of some kind. So Chevy, Ram, whatever your preference, Toyota Tundra, Nissan Titan, whatever you prefer in that size of truck, I think that would tow it just fine. So if you go totally base, you're under 6,000 pounds. You're like 5,900, I think 5,940 is how much the white one is that we have right now. This unit that I'm in right now is the fully loaded, and I mean, it has solid surface countertops, it has a wood table, right? So there's a bunch of things that make it heavier. And it's like just over 7,000 pounds, which I still think is like in that F1 territory. But, a 2,500 will be easy too. So, okay, Matt says, will the Garmin on the Reboot allow you to auto level like the Pause does? No, it doesn't. And hey, it's just so everybody understands this. Like the Reboot is not supposed to be, so they're all built by Pause, right? Pause is the manufacturer. It's Palomino Pause. Pause is the division, and then they have models, right? So this is the Reboot model, right? the 20.3, 21.4, 16.4, that the traditional pause units that you've been seeing, they are constructed much differently. It's kind of like a different lineup of vehicles that they're selling. And I kind of like to refer it to like a Lexus and a Toyota, right? Kind of same manufacturer, but like one's a little bit more premium, more expensive. The other one's a little bit cheaper. So these are going to range. I don't like to say prices because prices always change. So just like keep in mind that this is the manufactured list retail price, which is not necessarily what they're selling for. They could be selling for less than this price, but the base model, you're going to be about 80, I think it's 87,000. This is retail, right? And if you fully load it, you're going to be about 120, under 120, right? Now a pause, you can barely touch a pause for 120. Like most of the pauses, the retail on the pause comes in at like 160. That doesn't mean that's what they're selling for, but I'm telling you, like you have a $50,000 gap from a fully loaded 20.3, 21.4 to a fully loaded Reboot. So no, you're not going to get the same options. By the press of a button, trailer's not going to auto level itself, right? Now, this unit, you can buy, especially if you buy the base unit, you have a different suspension. It doesn't even have the airbag suspension. So it's like a standard, independent suspension, which the only way you level it is you drive on leveling blocks, right? You put blocks out, you drive it up on it, and you chalk the wheels. That's how you level. That's a standard trailer. Almost every trailer we have, that's how you level it, right? Now this one does have an option for airbags, the one that I'm in right now. So we pulled up, we're perfectly level here. By the press of a button, the airbags, you can level side to side. It has almost 12 inches of up and down lift. So super easy to level. Takes seconds to level if you have the air suspension option. But it's not by the press of a button. These both of them do have electric front tongue jack, so you pull it off the truck, you level it front to back with that electric jack, and then if you have the air suspension option, you go in and or off the phone, you can press a button and level it side to side really easily. But no, you can't disconnect and press one button and have it auto level. Sorry. It's just kind of like a lot of people are kind of confused, like thinking, oh, why can't I do everything that the pause does? The purpose of this trailer, it's kind of like multifaceted. One of it was like a floor plan, right? I knew this was a floor plan that I thought would do really well. And it originally started out as, hey Maynard, I think this is a really popular floor plan. And he said, oh yeah, and I think having a booth with 4 adults, all of those things would be great. And he's like, yeah. Then it kind of like went even, the conversation went further, and it was kind of like, hey, it would be nice to have something that would compete with, some of the other imports that are coming into the U.S., like the Black Series HQ19, right? The cheaper, the Chinese import stuff, some of the other units that are kind of in this, like the Embers, right? Embers, they're off-road-ish, right? They got an independent coil suspension. And in ways they are off-road, but it was like, it would be nice to compete in that range, right? That $60,000 to $80,000 price range. And so that's kind of how this started. But in the beginning, it was like, well, there's certain things we have to change. Like we can't give full auto leveling system. That's expensive, right? Having electric tongue jacks come down. These are manual jacks for stabilizing. Things like the walls, like this wall is cheaper, right? It's not going to be as expensive as that composite wall. But it's funny is like, no matter what Maynard does, my experience with him is he still wants to over deliver, even in this type of wall. Like I mentioned earlier, this is a phenomenal wall. This is better than anything I've seen on the market and the industry as a whole. So like, even though he's not delivering that full composite wall that you get in a 20.3 or 21.4, he's still delivering a wall that's superior to anything else in the market in the Reboot. So it's a phenomenal trailer, but you're talking $50,000 gap potentially. Obviously, I'm not talking about, you bargain hunters. You might find something else out there. You might find a used one. I'm talking about MSRPs. With the booth, So sorry, wait, where am I? Oh yeah, will the Garmin auto level? No. But if you do the air option, it's really easy to level. Takes 1 minute, 60 seconds. So it's pretty easy. Will that booth? I don't know what the question is. Oh, sorry. With the booth, will that booth be available to retrofit in an early 20.3? So there is a booth in an early 20.3 that we can retrofit for you. Not this booth. This trailer, okay, so let me make something else clear. This trailer is 8 inches, I think it's 8 inches, 8 or 9 inches wider than the standard pause. So that is also the reason for having a very wide booth. The kitchen is actually a little bit more narrow. So the sink, the countertops is a little bit more narrow. So when we went, like a year ago when I was talking to Maynard, like saying we should do this floor plan, he showed me the prototype and he's like, what do you think? And I was like, you know, these countertops could be a little bit more narrow, right? So he's like, okay. So they ended up cutting the countertops back a little bit, widening out the booth with this, all of this in mind, right? So the 20.3, like, yes, you can get a booth and you can sleep one person in it, but it's like, it's about to here, right? So you can sit in it, but you can't, you're not going to get 4 adults in it. So, scratch resistant. What? Windows. Oh, this is the window. You had the questions on the windows. No. Is anything scratch resistant? I mean, I guess resistant is scratch proof. No, nothing is scratch proof. I guess things can be scratch resistant. No, absolutely not. They're not scratch resistant. I don't know if glass is scratch resistant either. I would imagine, but the difference is if you have something, a tree branch slide along your window, it's going to just shatter it potentially. No, and that's the issue with polycarbonate windows. 250 times stronger than glass, very, very strong, very, very light. In yachts, airplanes, RVs, I think it's the ideal material for windows, especially off-road. Now, as far as scratch resistant, yeah, unfortunately they do scratch and they're a pain in the butt to buff out the scratches. Not impossible, and people do have solutions and there's things that you can do to buff them out, but they can be a little bit of a pain in the butt to scratch out, so or to clean the scratches out of them. Okay, now what is your opinion on hitches like Cruisemaster, Mick Hitch? Are they far better option and worth the retrofit? Do they handle equivalent weights compared to normal hitches? So like, when you say retrofit, what do you mean? What are you trying to retrofit? Like if you're out going and buying a Black Series, you know, they come with a poly block. That thing is trash. Yeah, you should pull that off and throw it in the trash. We've had those fail on people. Definitely don't want to be running around with that hitch. Yes, it's very much worth it to replace it with a Mick Hitch or a Cruisemaster. As far as ratings go, this hitch on the new pause, so the Reboots have a new hitch that's come out, and it is a full articulating hitch. So this one, originally it was only articulating side to side, so you had your camber articulation, but I mean, as far as a ball could move, it could go up and down, but it wasn't a full articulating forward to back, so that's kind of for your ditches and your hills. The new Reboot and all the pause lineup now has an option. More Rides invented this in the last year. It's awesome, actually. It's a full articulating 2 5/16 ball hitch. It is rated for 21,000 pounds, which is without a doubt the highest rated articulating hitch on the market right now. But you can't retrofit it on anything because you can't get it except for on a pause. It's all exclusive patent for pause right now. So you can't, a lot of people calling, I want to get that hitch for MORRIDE, and MORRIDE won't sell it to you because it's only for pause. So if you're looking at like another trailer, the Mick Hitch and the Cruisemaster, I think they're competitors, and I think they're both great hitches. The Mick Hitch will take a little bit more of a learning curve. Once you figure out how it works, it's really cool and I like it. The Cruisemaster is easier to learn because it's just kind of like a ball hitch. You drop it, you lift it up, and you drop it on the pin, and then it locks in, and it works great. I don't know the ratings off the top of my head. I know Mick Hitch has like a 4.5 ton and a 6.5 ton, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, if you get a ton is 2,000 pounds, right? So that's 12, 13,000 pounds. Yeah, 12, 13,000 pounds. That's a great hitch. That's the McHitch. The Cruisemaster has a DO35 and a DO45. I don't know if that has to do with like a 4.5 ton. So I don't know if that's like a 9,000 pound. I don't know why. I don't know the Cruisemaster. I should know this probably. We should probably research this. Yeah, the DO35 is for the smaller trailers. The DO45 is for the larger trailers. Maybe the 455 is 4.5 tons, so that would be 9,000 pounds. So the answer, you need to research and see what the weight ratings are. But the McHitch might have a higher weight rating than the Cruisemaster. This new MORryde hitch is definitely the most heavy duty of all articulating hitches on the market right now, at 21,000 pounds. Okay, but they're all great hitches. I really don't think you can go wrong. I would the thing that I like about this ball hitch is it's gonna be standard for all American hitches, right? So like there are some really cool different types of like hitches that like they rise up lower, or they rotate for different styles. And also equalizer hitches. There's no modification to the hitch. You can run any type of equalizer hitch with the new pauses with that ball, but you still have the ability to unhook it and be off-road and articulate. So I like that. Is the entry door glass on the Reboot as the original pause? I remember reading that an owner had his separate while on an Alaskan adventure. He surmised that the weight of the glass door was too much. This one's glass, huh? Yeah, I think it is. I think it is glass. They do have a metal door option now, so if you're concerned about it, maybe just get the metal door option. I'll have to talk to Maynard about that. I know who you're talking about. That Alaskan. I think that an Alaskan adventure customer. They're a roamer. I think they bought the trailer from us. So shout out, by the way. Super cool couple. And they did abuse that trailer. I mean, they took it to Alaska, right? From the East Coast. I think from like, where'd they come from again? Pennsylvania. Yeah, they went from Pennsylvania all the way to like the North Pole or whatever, all the way up to the circle, sorry, not where Santa Claus is, to the North Pole. It's the same area. So anyway, but they definitely put that thing through its paces, and I think they took it back. And I know they had some issues, but I mean, if you don't expect you're gonna have issues going 3, 4, I mean more like 6,000 to 8,000 miles, and rough roads to Alaska, gravel, you're crazy, and you shouldn't buy a trailer if you think you're never gonna have problems. You're definitely gonna have problems. But yeah, they were really happy. They were awesome. We installed a Starlink system for them. They had the in-motion Starlink. Very, very cool. We got some of their footage. We have them on B-roll. Some of the videos we put out, if you see anything that looks like Alaska, it's actually their footage they gave to us, which was really nice. So, but it might be the glass. I've not heard that. I haven't heard that. So, anything you can share about changes on the Pause 20.3 in the 2025 model year? You know, Matt, it's really hard. I don't know what he would change, just because, like, you know, I think Maynard has been operating more like a tech company, like Tesla. You know, I always joke how he's like a genius like Steve Jobs, but in the RV industry, he really is. And a lot of manufacturers, they actually won't make improvements, and they'll wait to the model year change. And Maynard has just been making improvements. Anytime he feels like there's an improvement being made, or if he sees an improvement that he feels he can make, he'll make it immediately. He won't wait, right? And so I feel like the Pause 20.3 has seen so much improvement. Like the very first ones were released last year in January. It's been a year and like 3 months. It's crazy. They've been in development for 3+ years. 2 years prior, he's been developing them, and I've been over to their place and saw, you know, I don't know how many, it feels like a half a dozen prototypes, right? So it wasn't like he just released the first one. They've been prototyping, building it, testing it. But you never know. It's like I said, like until you're actually out camping in it, until you get it out to the market, you never know for sure what people are going to like, what people aren't going to like. And he's been really receptive to all the feedback. I just don't know what we would change on it right now. I mean, everything on it is it's so, from last January to this January, it is so much more dialed in, and he's made probably 100 changes on it. Some of them have been little tweaks, just like QC stuff that you don't notice. I don't know what they're going to change, honestly. Like, if I could imagine, I know they've been trying to work a deal with Starlink, right? Where maybe it will have an automatic onboard Starlink. I know they've optimized the solar. What? Did you... Huh? Oh, we got like 5 minutes. Sorry, the guys are telling. I thought he was raising his hand to ask a question. You can just message in. I'll answer your question right here, Brandon. Brandon's our camera guy in the back. I'm teasing with him. Anyway, so I don't know. I don't know, Matt. I really don't. And I'm not saying like I really don't know what he would do or what he's gonna do. And I feel like the trailers are getting really dialed in where I'm happy with the way they are. Effortless choice. This is the trailer for us. Don't need the full blown off-road capability. Yeah, I don't know which trailer you're referring to. The Reboot. Man, the pause has just been awesome. Reboot, pause 20.20, 21.4, whatever it is. We've loved it. Nothing's been without issues. You know, we've had issues, but the difference is like pause has been phenomenal to work with. Like their warranty is so like they're on top of it. We have any issues, they're on top of it. Just love. Can't say enough good about Pause and their ability to support. I mean, that couple that went to Alaska, jump on and talk to them. They'll tell you, every single customer that owns a Pause, they'll tell you, number one, they love the trailer. If they have issues, like Pause has just been like above and beyond. So the trailer for us, thanks for the details on the width of the trailer and the differences on the countertops. Oh yeah, so the countertops, you have a Formica option, which is lighter. And then you have the solid surface, which is heavier, obviously. It's very nice, very pretty. It feels very premium. Backsplash all the way up, and that the Corian or the solid surface goes through the bathroom and the kitchen, and then this one's wood. If you go with the Formica countertops, they look marble, like white. I actually kind of like the look of them more personally than the solid surface, but it's also like you only get certain designs in solid surface, right? So I like them both. I think they're very pretty. And then scratch resistant compared to glass. Yes, I think I already answered your question. I think glass is probably more scratch resistant, but you can buff these out. But these are 250 times stronger than glass, so that's a good thing. Same diameter. What shows going to be in the future? So we're going to be at all the Overland shows. Generally, we don't go to the RV shows, just so you know. Pause isn't, ROA doesn't, most of the dealers don't. The trailers are very, very niche, and they don't really fit well in an RV show. Just being frank with you. Not a lot of success happens at the RV shows. RV shows are selling usually junk. That's like $20,000, $30,000. You know, just like a lot of cheap travel trailers, and they're just like, it's like a kind of like a zoo. They're just trying to sell as many as they can. You bring these in there, people are like, what is it? That's amazing. But it's just not like, we haven't had a lot of success at shows. So we usually go to the Overland shows, the places where people recognize quality, they expect quality, they see it, and they go, oh no, I understand why it costs more money. Because like the suspension is like 15 grand, I think, 10 to 15 grand. It's crazy expensive. That's just your suspension. Think about that. Just the control arms, the airbags, the tires, like that's the cost of some of the trailers at the RV shows. You can go in and buy a 20-foot travel trailer for 15 to 20 grand. You can't even buy the suspension. I mean, I guess you can buy the suspension, but that's all you get. Nothing else. Just the wheels rolling down the highway. That's not the frame. That's just the suspension. So it's crazy. People people don't realize, like, until you start digging into it, you don't realize, oh wow, yeah, that makes sense. And like building walls unlike anybody else, right? If you're gonna put wood paneling and you know what I mean, and use cheap fiberglass or laminate. Some of the this is pretty thick stuff. Some of the fiberglasses laminates out there are just so cheap. Anyways, I'm gonna keep on going down. I see Bobby says 6-ton. I'm guessing you're talking about the Cruise Master DO45. It's probably 6-ton. So yeah, make Hitch is technically 6.5 ton, so it's a little bit more heavy duty. Incinerator toilet option available for the Reboot. Thanks. As of right now, probably not, unfortunately. Every other toilet option, yes, but probably not the incinerator, just because of the way it's designed, unfortunately. And then thanks for the answers. You're welcome. Thanks, Shane. Great info tonight, and appreciate these live chats. Hey, thank you so much. Thanks for jumping on and joining and asking questions. I really, really appreciate it. It makes it go by better and flow more. So Reboot, yes. Reach out to us if you're interested in the Reboot. Get on the list. We're actually already selling a bunch of them. It's crazy how many orders we've taken. One thing I do want to mention is they are doing one change. I mean, they're doing a few changes. We went out to Moab, but most of the stuff you're not going to notice. Like he's adding a light and a plug, a USB, little things like that you don't appreciate it once you come and see it, you know. But some of those things are getting changed. The biggest thing that you are going to notice though is this is solid. This is real solid wood. And they're changing it to a different wood, and they're going to go with a flat panel instead of these, this panel, and it's going to be a high gloss white. So it's going to be a glossy veneer white, and these latches, I don't know if you can see those in the video. These latches are going to be locking latches. They do have magnets, and they're very strong magnets. We haven't had any issues opening them. But they're just going to go to that flat panel and make it look a little bit more seamless. So I'm super excited about that. And that's how every Reboot moving forward is going to be. So anyways, thanks Shane and Brandon and Jordan. Jordan's the one that got me the wall, just so you know. Brandon's been behind the camera the whole time, so you haven't seen him. And I'm sure they appreciate that. They're the ones that make everything actually awesome on YouTube. I don't. They're like the wizards that make everything look good. I just wish they could make me look skinnier, but whatever. Supposedly you got to eat differently to do that, but I don't really think about that stuff. Anyways, thank you, Shane, for your time answering the questions about the pause Reboot. Missed your discussion about the wall thickness and the insulation in the pause. How does it compare to the X22? That's a great question. We're pretty much out of time, but it's gonna go live. I mean, then it will get done, and then you can go back and rewatch it. You know, it's strange to say this, but I think the Reboot and the X22 is going to be similar because of the this vapor barrier. That's what the Explorer, he doesn't make it anymore like this, but that's how he did. And that was, I think, one of the biggest things that he did that really improved the insulation. But this thickness is similar to the walls might be a little bit thicker. I can't remember how thick they were. The roof, I know, is a little bit thicker on the X22, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I got to get Maynard to take this to a Truma chamber and do the testing on it. I think that would be really cool. And I think this is going to be very, very good in the winter. It feels very insulated. I'm freezing. We got the AC on. We got to turn it off. I'm like, it's getting really cold in here. So anyway, thank you. So the biggest reason for the construction change, Duramax, to end on this was just price. That's it. The other walls were a lot more expensive. So people have been asking us for a long time to sell a trailer or build a trailer that's under $100,000, and the Reboot is under $100,000 now. You can even get it almost fully loaded for around 100. So pause, you can't touch for that. So you got almost a $50,000 gap between some of the materials. So that's the main reason. Materials are still phenomenal and great, but you know, like veneer wood cabinets are cheaper than all aluminum cabinets. Aluminum cabinets are really expensive, and they had to be CNC'd and created specifically for the pause, and I think they cost like 4 times as much. So all of those little things added up. And so that's the big difference between the current pause models. The way I'm explaining it to everybody is like Lexus and Toyota, right? You got your premium Lux, or you get base, still phenomenal product. I still want to say this is premium, because it really is. It's better than most anything on the market right now, but the pause is going to be a little bit more higher tier. So my favorite floor plan is this guy right here, because I have a massive booth. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate everything. Stay tuned. We'll keep on bringing out stuff. We're filming a full tour right now of this, so that will probably be out in the next 3 to 4 weeks. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful night. Bye bye, everyone.